Good evening. We have a fantastic video that we want you to see, a lecture that we want you to see. It's very important that you pay attention to this, especially African American men and the wives and the families, okay? But African American men, it's very important for you to pay attention to this video because there's some trickery games going on, and it's gonna be trying to encourage you and trick you into some nonsense and some stupidity things because they know what God is about to do. They understand the numbering of the stars. They know what they're trying to do to you. They're trying to enslave you in a sense again, extend the voluntary slavery. I say it like that. To extend the voluntary slavery, you got to understand, the African American family was in charter slavery, then wage slave, and they're trying to extend that wage slave into the next, I'd say, into the next star count. And you need to know these arts. You need to know what they're doing. In the back of the dollar bill, you're going to see this. I don't know if I have a dollar bill on me, but I'm going to show you something. You need to see this. Do I have one? Oh, boy, I don't have a dollar bill on me right now. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. There you go. On the back of the dollar bill, over there, see, could they see this? I'm going to bring it up close to the camera. Could they see that? Yeah, you got it. That right there? That star. You need to understand that star. That star, I talk about a lot on the board. I don't use this star, but I use the star count a lot on the board. The star count is here. You need to know this. This is very important to know, because this is the game that been played on you. They knew you wouldn't know these arts in the time from slavery on, because that was erased from your mind, that was erased from your intelligence, erased from you knowing this stuff. So when they created this new Negro, the new Negro didn't know none of the arts of the Father. It was taken all away from him. And now we're returning these arts, we're returning this knowledge back to you. This is why two of the founding fathers has said, it takes 1,000 years for the blacks to catch up with the whites. That's what he was talking about. There's certain knowledge that been taken from you that never been restored to you. It don't matter what fraternity you've been a part of, Greek fraternity. It don't matter whether you are stepping Greek or you Freemason, black Freemason, etc. They never gave you these arts because they know that if they told you the knowledge of these arts, you would liberate yourself before they choose for you to be liberated. They never intend for you to be liberated. They never intend for you to be free. But you always thought that the system was there to free you and to give you justice and give you the things that balance and give you what we call order in the midst of chaos. It was never sought up like that. This system has never been sought. You're dealing with a republic. They feed you that ideal of democracy. But Hillary Clinton election, and before that Gore election will show you there was no democracy in your voting. But yet, it's hard for me to explain this to you, so it's going to take some time. I have to play what a white person say to get my own people to listen to what is the truth that need to be said. Because sometimes, I hate to say it, but our people got to learn how to listen to the ones that God has sent to you. It's very important. The name of this lecture is Pan-American Nation on America's Soil. We keep telling you about these Pan-African Nation on America's Soil. The Lincoln Effect 2020. That's Pan-African Nation on America's Soil. The Lincoln Effect 2020. It's very important that you see that. Now, they're going to say it, and when you hear them talk about it on the NBC News after I show you this clip, they're going to make it seem like that's the first time anybody ever heard of this. You know, as the Russians talking about it, that's the first time. No, people. The 40 Acres and a Mule was connected to that ideology. Okay? Marcus Garvey was connected to that ideology. Elijah Muhammad was connected to that ideology. And many other individual black leaders in that time was connected to that ideology, having a black nation, having an independent black nation. This is not the first time that you hear this stuff go back over 100 and some years. This ideology among blacks. Okay, so don't let them try to deceive you and think, oh, Russia is trying to say that, so, you know, don't run behind that because that's communism and all that. See, they're trying to push that nonsense over on you so you can run with that and say, well, I can't be a part of that, or I can't even think like that because that's communism. Come on now, you got to see the brainwashing that's going to happen to you. They finna bust it open, they finna come head on to you, and you need to get ready for this, because I'm telling you stuff before time so you'll know what's going on. See, the Bible demands that you have your own nation. The Bible demands this. And what is happening, these other nations, God done fixed it, that these other nations, what they call in the scripture, the servants, is going to make sure you get justice. It's a human right, first people. This is not to be seen as a civil right. See, as long as they work under the civil system, they got you trapped. But when you start dealing with a human right situation, the whole world is involved with the affair then. And the whole world is the judge of the affair. See, America have always tried to keep things within the civil environment. It's like King and people like Malcolm X. When Malcolm X started wanting to take certain information to the UN, oh, they had to kill him then. You see what I'm saying? They didn't want him showing that this is a human right issue and not a civil right issue. See, they want to keep you in the civil courts, in that environment, under what they call the Supreme Court environment. And all these places and all these things were set up to take your rights away or keep you from advancing. Even the Supreme Court. You know, a lot of times they tell you in school, oh, this and that and that, and people believe me. I'm not here trying to tear my country down. I'm trying to wake you up to what's going on in the nation. You got to take the blinders off, because you've been putting these blinders on and seeing these truthism and knowing that, look, you don't pick the president, okay? The Electoral College picked the president, and you got to wake up to that. Hillary Clinton had 3 million more votes than Donald Trump. The Electoral College follow mythology and all this other stuff. They do not follow democracy. Although they may say that. It's different between what you say and what you do. I can say one thing, but look at my action, and that's the truth about me. Not what I say, it's about what I do. So you got to see things. You got to see things. This Electoral College is the one that choosing your presidents. In the past, they were men that was from big plantation owners and all that. And right now, more likely that people with vast amount of money and etc. still running your country, choosing who they want to be in that White House. Hillary Clinton knew that she wasn't going to get in that White House without the Electoral College. There's no president going to get in the White House without the Electoral College. And that's the case. You got to know your vote really do not count when they're talking about a national election. And that's the garbage that I fed you, and you got our people running behind it every day. Come on, vote Democrat, vote Republican, vote, block your vote. Block your vote and see what you got, what they call a super PAC. You need to look at this thing differently now. And that's why I'm bringing you this. This is critical now. You need to take this lecture. You need to sit down in the quiet of your home. You need to let your family, your husband, your wife look at this lecture, your cousin, whoever you can. Now, you got to understand, our peoples have been dead or been asleep for a long time now. Since Martin Luther King, they've been asleep for 50 years. It's time to shake them and wake them now because of the events that's going to happen. See, God's going to give you your great substance, and your great substance ain't just monetary value. Most of your great substance is going to be in land, territory. Most of your great substance is going to be in knowledge, in which the way God wants you to see this thing and move forward. So you could build that nation that God wants you to build, so you could be example to the world. You're going to become men and women renowned. And that's what God wants this day out of you, to work toward being men and women that are going to be renowned. You're going to lead the world in the right path. And that's why God chose you to be at this time, to be the examples for the world. People, you're great. You're great. You're sons of God. You're not regular people. You're sons of God that God have chosen this time of human history for you. That's why this Bible was sent to America. This Bible got the language inside of it. Not everything about it, but inside of it. It got the language of thought. See, the Knight Templars and stuff, this is the things that they took. See, the Satarian is come from ancient Egypt. The Egyptian literature is in your Bible. But they've been brainwashing you and make you think that this is not. This is stuff that came from Jesus' time or Rome time and all that other. But they don't dispute the Old Testament now. But they put it to be the Khazar's book, the Jews' book. You see what I'm saying? And the Khazars didn't come until after Christ's time, even after Rome started up the church. So when when Constantine started up certain things, certain knowledge. So you got to understand that you've been lied to. This book comes from the Satarian, which comes from the area of Egypt, Alexander, Egypt, which is Egyptian literature. You got to go back to the fathers with this book and understand thought, your Savior, and know that Jesus is a code name for your messenger. That's all the name Jesus is a code name for your messenger. And other individuals incorporated that same code name into who they are, the Jews. That code name is in the word Jewish. Okay? You need to see this, people, because it's very important. I don't want to holler. I want to teach this lesson. Okay? We're going to start in this lecture with something, a writing that's in this book. It's called The Prodigal Son. It's called The Prodigal Son. See, The Prodigal Son was written because they initially wanted you to know what was going to happen in America, and it dealt with two individuals. The Eurocentric man that lived in America, that run America, that signed America up for him to control it, and the black man. And the black man is the one that was sown into the field to feed the swines in the prodigal son. You're going to find this story in Luke. It's a chapter in this book. You need this book. That's why I keep trying to get you individuals to order these books. Order this book, Judgment of America. It's information in there you need to know about yourself. It's a language in there that's written with the Bible that you can interpret the Bible verses and chapters and things about the exegetic writing of what's really going on. You need that. You cannot get away from that if you're going to be resurrected from this dead state in which they have put you into. It's very important. Now, I want to take this kind of smooth. I don't want to holler. I want you to see this truthism. You need this. Many ask, tell us about now. We want to know what we need to know about now. I'm dealing with now, my people. I'm dealing with now. I'm going to show you how you came to this point through the prodigal son and where you are right now. It's very important. Let's deal with it. Pan-African nation on America's soil. The Lincoln Effect 2020. Now, I want you to see this because in the very near future, you're going to be confronted with that. And I don't mean on years from now. I mean, before this year out, it's going to come more and more to you. In the next 4 years, it's going to be all in your face. Okay? It's going to be all in your face. You're going to have a war on America's soil. And that's what this is to show you right here. You're going to have a war on America's soil. Just like you have a civil war on there, you're going to have this. You're going to have a world war. When you see this area here coming up here, this line coming up here, what did you have there? You had a world war. That's the time of World War II, World War I. What did you have up here? Later on, you had other wars. But you got to see that these lines here is very important. When you see the scriptures say, God say he must cut time short or there'll be no flesh saved, you got to know these lines. From here to here, when you come up in there, this line get narrow up here. That means a shorter time of events. These events down here must mirror the events that's going to occur up here. People, the arts don't lie. You will not get out of this one. This is for you to understand, and that's why I'm going to carefully teach you this, because this is truthism. This is what they hid from you. This is what they never taught you, although they use the arts and the knowledge on the back of the dollar bill. Why would they put a pyramid with an eye, the eye of Horus, on the back of the dollar bill? Why would they put that on there? Why would they give you American Eagle and they will put 13 stars inside the Egyptian star? Why would they do that? And why would they make that glory look around it? Why would they do that? See, you need to know this, because this nation is built on that. This nation is built on that type of knowledge. And the only way you're going to come alive, you got to have that knowledge so you'll know what your enemy have done to you. They have trapped you in a voluntary slavery, and you have not been taught this. And you have went to school to get educated as much as you can and to do all you could do, but you cannot be delivered from this that he trapped you into, because he used religion to help trap you. He used Christianity to help trap you, and you don't even know it. And you go to church every Sunday and you praise their God, and you are thinking you are praising your God. And when you get blessings, you swear that God the Almighty, through Jesus, their Jesus, gave it to you. That's a great deception, my people. That's like calling fire from heaven. That's a great deception, and you got to understand this. And I know most people don't want to hear this. This is going to the core of our black people faith. It's going to the core of it. But you can't deliver people out of condition unless you be honest with them and you teach them what thus say the Lord, the truthism. And you got to use this book. You can't deviate from the book, my people. You can't deviate from the book. You are not seeing me deviating from the book. This book, and most people don't know this is not a Christian Bible. Although they tell you it's a Christian Bible, and they use the Old Testament and the New Testament. This is a book of thought that the Eurocentric have used and manipulated to make you think it's a Christian Bible. When you go back and you look at the word Christian, or bishops of Christ, it goes back to Serapis. Now, why do they have this Jesus thing or Christ thing in the New Testament when the Christians or the bishops of Christ was back in Serapis' day? Because there was a deception that they wanted you to see. And in that deception, when you came out of slavery, or when they started taking you to that point where they're going to let you out of slavery, they start teaching you this book. Why? Because they use the same book to manipulate their own peoples, and they use it to manipulate you. They never wanted you to interpret this book yourself. They always had manuals, Sunday school manuals, and other manuals for you and tell you what the scripture was saying. They did not want you to use your own free will to go in there and think about it, what it really was saying. And you got caught up in it. And now most of our peoples are dead in the reality of God. And we must shake them and wake them from that dead state. And you need to see this. And this is what the scripture is going to show you. Now, let's deal with it. The Lincoln effect, 2020. What do that mean, the Lincoln effect? Okay. Now, if you look at the word Lincoln effect, and it have a meaning to it, the Lincoln effect referred to the visual effect of how a block portrait is difficult to recognize close up. Now, what is that? When you're looking at something, and this, I'm going to use an example. When you're looking at something and all you have is a media to give you information on what's really going on, and you're looking at it, it's hard to really understand because you close up to the day and the time and what they have given you and the outlet they have given you for news and information, and you right there, it's right there in your face. So you are right there looking at it, but then you are carrying what you call the Lincoln effect, because you really don't see the truth. You only see what they want you to see. So you got to change your vision on how you see things. And what is it? It's difficult to recognize close up. It's difficult to recognize because you're right here. You didn't study no history. You don't know the past. So all you know is what's going on right now. And you need to be able to understand more than that. But then, at a distance, now notice, at a distance can be easily recognized. Why? At a distance. What is that saying? You got to go study the history around this nation. You got to go study the history around your flight to America. You even got to go and study your history from your father's beginnings of Egypt, and your father's beginning of Atlantis, and your father's beginning of the Garden of Eve, and your father's beginning of what they call the Noah effect coming this way. You need to start knowing that and working your way on here so you can see what really been happening. So to see it close up and just trying to understand your life close up, where you at now, and from slavery, from emancipation now, you're missing a lot. You can't see the portrait. You can't see your life like you're supposed to see it. And you have that Lincoln effect. And you need to see this. So what it say? But then, at a distance, can be easily recognized by looking. Now notice, looking at the image. Looking at the image through squinched, half-closed eyes. In other words, focus. And this is what I'm asking you to do. Focus. Because this is a critical time right now. War is going to be beating at your door, and you don't know what's going on because your preachers do not understand these revelations that's in this Bible. You do not go to Revelation to find a revelation. You do not go to just Daniel to find a revelation. The revelation is from one end of the Bible to the others. The priest Orion said that when you're looking at the Bible, these revelations are all over the Bible. They're in places you wouldn't even imagine they are in. By you not having the arts, you wouldn't know when one is right there in your face. So you got to look from a distance at this stuff. You got to be able to look and understand the arts. All the things that go with the studying of the Bible. You got to look at Peshet. You got to look at Ramus. You got to look at what it is, Sard. You got to look at these different concepts of understanding the written esoteric writing. And this is very important, my people. You need to see this. Okay? Now, okay, let's deal with this. Luke 15:11. This is the one that we call the prodigal son. A certain man had two sons. Okay? A certain man had two sons. Most people apply that like I have done in the book, Judgment of America. You can apply with the Noah effect. Now you understand Sard. Sard got levels to it. So you could deal with levels. I'm dealing with a deeper level even than what I have in this book. So a certain man had two sons. Okay? You could have that to be thought. Okay? You could have that to be Noah, etc. But a certain man had two sons, and when you see the Noah effect, Noah had three sons, but they're only talking about two sons. And in the Quran, Noah had four sons, but it's still talking about two sons. And this book was sent to America, so what two sons are talking about? The son, the Negro, and the Eurocentric man. In this, you're going to find that the Negro includes the man from Africa, black from Africa, and the blacks that was already stationed here in America. Okay? And the Eurocentric man is the one that's in power. Okay? These are the two. Someone say Ham and Japheth. Someone say it like that. Ham, which was a black man, and Japheth was the Eurocentric man. Okay? Now, a certain man had two sons. And the younger of them said to the father, Father, give me a portion of goods. Okay? Give me a portion of goods. If you study history, after the days of Noah, Ham's son stepped up, and you had Nimrod, and he was a mighty hunter, and he began to build buildings and cities, and et cetera, et cetera. That's how the story goes, the mythology goes. It say, give me the portion of good. Then it say, thought fall to me. In other words, thought give us all the things. Thought give this. So you give me a portion of good that God want me to have. That's what he's saying. Give me a portion of good that God want me to have. And he, now notice, and he divided unto them his living. Now, who divided? You're talking about the Father. Divided unto them his living. That means it was more than one that he gave to at that time. It didn't just give to the younger son. He gave to all. And when you see the world as the world after Noah time, everybody multiplying and growing and built nations and cities and et cetera, et cetera. So everybody had a portion of the goods. But Nimrod and Ham's seed began to build places in Egypt, Africa, and build the civilizations and all in the Middle East and et cetera. The civilization that was the advanced civilization. It said Nimrod became a mighty hunter and et cetera. So you know that from that mythology now, that mythology writing. Now, what we see then, and we're going to focus on Africa, okay? In Africa, because the story go back before Noah and all this stuff way before then, but I don't want to get into that. I don't want to lose you. I want you to get that idea of how to see this portrait leading up to our time, okay? Now, what you're going to see then, you're going to see this part here, okay? And divided unto them his living. Now, what that means? His living. Now, you're going to see this seed that was part of the creation, the makeup of man, this seed of Ham's seed, this Nimrod seed, these individuals was the ones that was building the civilization of God. They built Egypt. Egypt mirrored the heavens, okay? It mirrored the heavens. Everybody, even today, trying to emulate what Egypt done. Egypt is the only civilization they know that have existed for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. So all nation is trying to emulate that, even today. Now, what you're going to see in this little brief, in these verses, you're going to see them come Egypt, Africa. You're going to see man's makeup from Egypt to Africa. This younger son makeup from Egypt and Africa / You're going to see the Olmecs and the Mayas over here in the Western Hemisphere, still part of these same peoples. And you're going to see the American Indians and African, which is in our day, during the time after slavery, during slavery, you're going to see this combination. The American Indian, African American Indian. And that's what I put, because these people been moved over to America long years ago, already over here, and these individuals what made America what it is. That's how these African American Indians, once they came from African American Indians, that's how you get the Olmecs and the Mayas. These individuals coming over, along with other cultures at the same time. But this is why you get it. So you had the black man ruling in all these areas in Africa, and he ruled in America. And he had advanced civilization, because we know the Olmecs and the Mayas was advanced civilization. Even you see in South American places, you use the Olmec skull, a statue of some of the big head statue of the Olmecs. So you had advanced civilization all over in Africa and in America and other areas, but we're dealing with Africa and America right now. Now, these things are very important to understand. Now let's deal with this apart. Let's go to Luke 15:15. 15:15, we'll deal with that. And he went and joined himself to the citizens of Thought country. Now you got to remember, why would I call it Thought country? because the Olmecs and the Mayas was already here in America. See, God had already set up a civilization here. And the Egyptians and Africans was over there working civilization in Africa area. So you had the Olmecs, so thought was already connected to the Olmecs and the Mayas. Then you had the Africans, which was African American Indians connection here. And you're going to see that. You need to see all these connections of yourself and how you came about to be that younger son. Okay, now the older son is going to come in the picture, which comes later, and he's known as a citizen. Okay, now who was known as citizen? The European. The word citizen comes from the European environment. Okay, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of thought country, because this is thought country in America. This is where the Olmecs is. This is the part right here. This is it here. Now, we're going to see this. Now, thought country, and he sent him, now notice, and he sent him into the field to feed the swine. Who sent him? Sister Corinthia, could you get a close look up? Turn that thing so to be close on this board. I don't want them to see, I want them to see the writing very clearly. So make sure they see the board. We can do each one of these boards at a time. Okay. Now, what you're going to see is that in Luke 15:15, and he went and joined himself to a citizen of thought country, of this country. Where you at? In America, because his book was sent, Bible was sent here. The book of thought was sent here. Okay. Now, into it, and what happened? And he sent him unto his field. Who? The citizen. The citizen came and conquered what? The Eurocentric came and conquered this land, America. And he sent him into the field to feed the swine. What? He brought him here to make slaves out of him for economic gain, for labor force, the labor force. Okay? And he took the American Indian as well, to make slaves out of them for labor force. So you're going to see this existing where these people is going to be caught up in this system, and this citizen is the one that's going to cause the effects of their life. Now, in Luke 15:16, and he would faint, having filled his belly with the hooks. Okay? Now then thought going to express itself. Thought that the swine did eat. Now they know he is totally dead. He's totally out of there. Because see, thought people don't eat this. Even the Jews will tell you in the laws of the Bible and all that, you didn't eat swine. Even in the Soterian writings in the Bible, the Old Testament, you didn't eat swine. You didn't have it. So they know when you done got to that level, you dead. And what happened when you became this servant? You was being brainwashed. What they call brain drain. You didn't have no understanding of your connection with the Soterian, your connection with the literature of God and thought and ancient Egypt. You had no connection. You became a new Negro, a new African. You became the Massa. You became the Massa, what they call his like child. You became nobody. You were just like an animal from his point of view now. From his, because he was treating you like he would treat the animals. Okay? Although you was a human being. Although you came from the sons of God. You need to see this now, because it's very important. Because the prodigal son is telling you this. Okay? And the swines, now say, you did eat, and no man gave unto him. That means your diet was not a European diet. Your diet was created in this captivity. You was eating things that was not what they call good for you. You was eating greens. You were eating whole malls, whole brains. You was eating neck bones. You was eating all the throwaway things, pig feet. you was eating chicken feet and all this, the throwaway thing. The master took the good things and he gave you the throwaways, and you made delicacies out of the throwaways, and that was not God's will for you. That means, and no man gave unto you. That means that's your created diet under chaotic environment. That's a diet that was to destroy you, not build you. And we sweated it off, and by working out, people working in the field, sweating, so we managed to survive until a certain age. And they work you until they work you to death. They weren't interested in you being, live on the plantation till you 90 or 100 years. No, they ain't caring about that. They needed you for labor and labor only. And they had no purpose for you after you got a certain age where you could not plow the field, where you could not pick the cotton, where you could not do all these things. And you got to remember now, I want you to pay attention to this. In places like Mississippi, that's why you had that Civil War. Places like Mississippi alone, the state of Mississippi was known as the Cotton King of the world. Mississippi had more wealth, more revenue than the fourth largest country in the world at that time. Just the state of Mississippi alone. That's how much money was being made in Mississippi. And those Mississippians, them Southerners, began to control Congress and control the Senate because of their economic influence. And that's why they was not thinking about having no free slaves at no time. The Negro was chattel. The Negro was their stock. And that's where you get the stock market from, because of the American Negro. And you need to see this. People, I'm not trying to holler. All I want to do is take you down the road that you can see these realities, because it's in the prodigal son. You just got to know how to interpret it properly. It's there. God put it there. Okay? And he had that man to give it to you, because he never going to teach you how to translate it. So he didn't worry about that. He'll put it right in front of your face. Negro don't like to read no way. And he already told your preacher what to think about certain scripture, and your preacher have been like a giant elephant, never go outside that circle, never became free thinkers. They didn't be free thinkers and say what this word is really trying to say. No, no, no. They taught you what the white man told them to teach you. The Eurocentric man, ain't no white man. The Eurocentric man told him to teach you. And that's why you're in the condition you is, and you're still running under that same black preacher philosophy. And don't get me wrong now, he didn't know no better. But the question is, do you remain there because he didn't know no better? Do you remain there because the institutions, the religious institutions and the colleges taught him to teach that way as well? So do you remain there just because that he went to school for that and the white man taught him there when it's not the truth? Do you really remain there? Do you really let yourself stay locked in that voluntary slavery, in that spiritual belief that was not from God? Because the Old Testament tells you about thought. The Old Testament look at Jesus as one to come as a messenger. So what you're going to do, you're going to have the Constantine determine your God, your Savior, your Lord. You're going to have him take them and put them as one. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, and have him to call him Yahshua and later Jesus the Christ, when Christ is a title, but you know him as Jesus Christ. Come on, people. Come on. It's time to wake up now. It's time to wake up. Because this is going to happen, people. These events is going to happen. And I'm here to warn you that these events are going to happen. And if you think things going to stay the same, you see things changing now. Look at the stock market. They don't know where it's going, what is going to happen. Then they're going to throw you a virus out there, and they throw a virus out there every election. Look at Brother Coleman's video where he showed you. All the election, major election, they put you a virus out to scare you up. So you could go and start buying stuff, take it off the shelf and buy the stuff. During the hurricanes, take it off the shelf and buy the stuff, instead of trying to find out what's really going to happen. What's really going on. See, you got to understand, I'm not telling you don't buy stuff, but come on. Look, it's a man-made virus. The thing did not come, just popped up. They put it there. And they don't care how many of your people die, what color they are that die. And you ain't trying to see these realities. You got to wake up and see the realities. Nobody accountable for it. It's just there now. It ain't no accountabilities. And they making money off of it. But you ain't paying attention. And it's a cycle. It ain't just this time. Study it. Study the virus. And you see what's been happening. Come on, my people. It's time to wake the heck up and see these realities. Let's go on. Let's move on now. I don't want to take too much time in one spot. Let's move on. Now, at this time, when it leading all the way up to the swine eating and all that, you had the transatlantic slave trade. That's what they did. They traded, brought the black on over. You had the Native American. They put them in slavery as well. You got to see that at that same time. Then this is a slave trade. This is all about the transatlantic and the Native American slave trade. Okay. Then they came up at the same time. You would call them slave laws. I would put Jim Crow laws because all of them connected. You had the slave laws and you had segregation, okay? They start segregating the black man from the other indentured servant, etc. And then later, they brought you integration. See, they didn't change anything. They went from chattel slavery to wage slavery. They didn't change anything. But see, if you look at it, you'll think, oh, the emancipation came and Lincoln emancipation. We'll get into that part about Lincoln. We're going to talk about that because the Civil War and the freeing the slave and all that, come on, people. That was a military action. That's what economic military action. And you got to see this. You got to understand what he said at different times, what Lincoln was saying, okay? Because it's written there. Luke 15:17. And when he came to himself, that's you, black man. That's you, black woman. That's the black family it's talking about now. And when he came to himself, that's the younger son. And when he came to himself, he said, now notice this, how many hired servants of my fathers have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? Now, what is that saying? Now, how long did this go on? This went from slavery all the way down to segregation, all the way down to integration. So what you got, this whole slave mentality of the brother, the citizen sending you into the field, this went on for 400 years. 400 years. See, I separate that time. This is that time here, over here, that deal with Egypt, Africa, the Olmecs, the Mayas, and the African-American Indian. Okay, now this is a whole different time. This story of the prodigal son broken down into separate times, and you need to see this. So this is the time you was in slavery, you were captured and put in slavery, and this is the time all the way into now. Integration. You're a part of integration. Now, we're going to take you from the time you're in right now into where your mind is at, where your mind should be at, what you should be focusing on. Now, and when this Luke 15:17, and when he came to himself, it's very important to understand. When he came to himself, okay, could they focus on that? They can see that quite well? Okay, when he came to himself, he said, okay, the black man, black woman, the black family, he said, how many house servants of my father have bread? What is bread all about? Bread is economics. You're dealing with economics there. Enough economics. See, what is happening right now, black man, your money come in your community and bounce right out. So you don't have enough because you can't invest on anything. You have no banks, no insurance companies, none of all this stuff that you need to grow as a people. It's enough to spare, and I perish with hunger. Hunger and everything. You have a lack of community. You don't have a community. You have a neighborhood. You have a lack of understanding of God. You've been taught the Eurocentric man religion, his Christianity. You've been taught the Jesus, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You ain't been taught about Allah, thought, and the messenger. You haven't been taught of that, and it's right in the Bible. So you have a lack of all these things. You have a lack of a political clout. You don't own, they'll put you as a U.S. Senator, only one Supreme Court judge. And you have, other positions in politics. A few of you scattered like pepper, like salt, scattered about, like pepper and salt. They have a few of you, but really, you carry no clout. You're hunger. You can't do nothing. You're the majority, not the minority. You have no power. And God's showing you yourself right now. You don't have enough, and you perish with hunger. So what you got in that, coming out of this condition, you asking this question. You had a civil war, you had emancipation, you had the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, and it still did not deliver you. Okay? It did not deliver you, my people. You are still in a voluntary slavery today. They even trying to push the 13th and 14th Amendment. Even you had corporations talking, well, we're part of 13th, we're part of 14th Amendment. We are people. And that's how you got corporations saying the lawyers, tricky dick lawyers came in and said, well, we are people. The corporations are people. So they are under the 13th, 14th Amendment when it was made for black people. For slaves, the free slaves, to give them some ability mobile ability to move and build themselves. And now you got everybody trying to say, be under that. You got gays and lesbian, midgets, and everybody else talking about, I don't want to talk about midgets, but gays and lesbian and all this and other stuff, trying to use the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Taking your rights away. Ladies, women, taking your rights away. White women, taking your rights away. And when it was made for black family, and you don't have what you used to have. You got it in it, like the Civil War and emancipation. You had Lincoln. Lincoln told his cabinet, I'm talking about what Lincoln told his cabinet when he dealt with the emancipation. Lincoln told his cabinet that he had used his power as commander-in-chief to free the slaves in the Confederate States. Now, it's not the Union States, it's only the Confederate States. This is not the Northern States, only the Confederate States, okay? Because it was a covenant that he had made with God. Come on, man. Come on. You're talking to God, a covenant you made with God, but yet you still want to send black folks down to the Amazon to start a colony and push them in the Amazon. But you made a covenant with God. Come on. Who gonna believe God dealing with you, man, with some kind of crap like that? Read the man's life. Read what the man was saying. Oh, if I could stop this war, if I could end this war without freeing and slave, I would. See, they're not telling you the whole story. They're not telling you that the European bankers came to him, and at that time he had to uphold that debt from the Revolutionary War. It was time to pay up, and the bankers knew that Mississippi was the fourth largest. That state had the economics of the fourth largest nation in the world at that time, because cotton was king, and they wanted Mississippi, and that way they was using Lincoln to take Mississippi. But see, they don't tell you all this in the school system. Lincoln was the man who freed, emancipated the slaves. But none of the slaves in the North were emancipated. Lincoln was a man who sat in the presidential seat, and he acted as the commander-in-chief. And for the Republic, what he did, he uses military prowess. He uses military ability to start a war and to bring back Mississippi and all them southern states back into the Union. That was an economic force, and that was a military move. He freed them because he needed to break the back of the southern economy. And he knew that those slaves with the slave work, the plantation don't know what's going on in no field and do all that. No, forget that. Them slaves outnumbered the whites in that area. You had so many slaves, it was, a great number of slaves compared to the whites in the area, especially on the plantation. Some of them slave owners had 500, 200, 300, 1,000 slaves. Very few of them had down like 20 and all that. They don't like to record the real number that some of them had. So you hear a sprinkle down time, like, the time when, they have a few. But you got to remember, these people, these slave owners was breeding these slaves. And they would breed them in such a rapid pace that they breed them so that they did not need to have no more ship over here, because they were getting their own slave. You had some women, black women, could have 12 kids easy, like nothing. You say, oh, that's too much coming out of me. Yeah, whatever. But it wasn't at that time. It wasn't at that time. Okay, one woman could have up to 12 kids, and you got, just say you got at least 50 to 100 women on your plantation. How many children you think? They was breeding them just like you breed pet bulls today. They was breeding them women. They was breeding them, my people. And that's what it was all about. And the woman did not have any rights of her body. The slave could go in there and touch her. The slave could send some of his people. They even got history where the slaves, some of the kids, young college boys, white college boys, just come and stay on the plantation and get the black girls pregnant and stuff, so they could use them little light-skinned slaves to be in the master house and other stuff like that. That's a historical fact. You need to start finding out what's going on. People, they ain't treat you right. They erase who you are, and they still erasing who you are today. You got to let thought bring you back. You got to start reading and researching and understand what's really going on. It's crucially important, my people. You got to understand this Lincoln thing. You got to understand what's really going on. The Emancipation Proclamation issued by Lincoln was not a statute enacted by Congress. It was a presidential proclamation. See, Congress had nothing to do with it. He overrode Congress. He couldn't about that. He overrode Congress. And he did what he wanted to do because he knew he needed to do that to weaken the South. He needed to do that to break the back of the South so they could come back submissive to the North. And he did, as a military leader, what needed to be done. And that's what happened. Now, I want to talk about different individuals. Philip Davis, Mr. Robert Cromwell, Mrs. Joyce Cromwell. You got Nancy Brown, you got Marcellus Jackson, you got Eldrin Journal, and you got Richard Sowell. Okay, these individuals are individuals that are helping with this organization, and we want to be able to show their name and show the appreciation that we have for those individuals. Okay, now I want to go on over here, Sister Cynthia. I want to go over here. And before I go over here, I want you to see a video of what's being said about our time, because I'm going to bring you into a time that you need to see right now. I want to bring you closer in to what's going on. You need to see this. Let's do what we got to do to get this on. Okay. I don't know how this get here. Let me get this. Be with you just a minute. I want to get this. This is very important. I want to show you something. It's about the Russian about Russia and Russian involvement with the landmass, with the African Americans in this country. Okay.
A complex world with complex markets like fixed income not only calls for a diversified approach, it calls for a right partner. At T. Rowe Price, we rely on our strategic investing approach.
Once we get past this, for some reason they have so many commercials you can't click right off of them.
Beyond the numbers to seek out opportunities firsthand and seize what others might miss. Get the full story behind fixed income opportunities for your clients.
Tonight, new evidence suggests Russian efforts to meddle in American society stretch beyond the election. Documents seen exclusively by NBC News appear to show another bizarre campaign to sow unrest in the U.S. Russian operatives last year pitched a plot to manipulate African Americans. One especially disturbing proposal suggests recruiting African Americans with criminal records, giving them sabotage training at camps in Africa, and returning them to the U.S. Another proposal? Encouraging African Americans to push for independent statehood in the South.
It does not surprise me at all the extent to which Russia would go to undermine our democracy and really target divisions that already exist within our country.
The documents were found in communications between Russians linked to Yevgeny Prigozhin, a catering magnate dubbed Putin's chef, indicted by Robert Mueller for trying to sway the 2016 election. While NBC News cannot independently verify the documents, they were uncovered by an investigative Russian opposition group called the Dossier Center, which, in the past, has revealed authentic material to us.
Our adversary is coming at us. We should expect it to happen now leading up to the 2020 election, and these documents indicate we're going to see it on steroids.
Well, there's no indication the plans were more than aspirational. Bipartisan members of Congress were so troubled they planned to introduce a bill to guard against these and other potential Russian plots.
Now, that was very important for you to see. Now, I'm going to deal with this board here. That was very important. Before I go any further, I needed you to hear what was going on. What was going on. What you were seeing right there, you were seeing something that is going to start a big war on America's soil in the very near future. You're going to see the similar thing that happened during the time of the Civil War. You're going to see it happen at our time. And I'm going to explain this. And you're going to see it in the scripture. But you need to know this. And you need to know the odds so you can understand what's going on. Let me tell you something, black folks. Black men in America have been so dumbed down that he ain't going over to Africa and train and nothing else to train to start no war with nobody on his own. If the Soviet Union or anybody else try to help him, he been too dumbed down to do that. And I hate to say it, but that's how it is. And besides that, God have no intention on him doing that. He don't need to go to Africa. That's a war against the white man and the white man. That Civil War was a war against the white man and the white man. It had nothing to do with freeing no Africans. It had nothing to do with getting no black folks to 40 acres and a mule. They just happened to do that because the black folks fought with them and they decided to do that for the black man. They was trying to get him way over in Africa, away in the Amazon and all the other places, not on America's soil. They had no intentions on black having no land on American soil. So when you hear the story of the 40 acres and a mule, the reason it was easy for them to take the land back because they had no intentions in the beginning for you to have that. Although they had the Sherman paper written up and some people moved to certain areas. They did not want to free you. You've been in a voluntary slavery ever since the emancipation. And the ones in the South never did a doctrine for them to be free. The emancipation was only for the southern states who had seceded from the Union. And we got to see this. Now, I want to show you this in the prodigal son, and I want to show you the ark there. Now, what we have showed you so far, what we did so far, we have went from Noah time. Noah had 2 sons. From Noah time, he had 4 sons in the Quran. He had 3 sons in the New Testament. But this story is about Noah and his 2 sons. Okay? And through time, this Noah them have came all the way around, and humanity have came all the way around to where we at right now. Okay? It came through the age of Taurus. It came through the age of Aries. It came through the age of Pisces. Now, we're approaching into the age of Aquarius. So this whole story of the prodigal son had went from here to there. Okay? The father giving to the younger son who asked for it, and then Noah gave it to them. In other words, humanity, everybody got certain things, and they built certain nations and all this other stuff. Okay? Now, that's scripture. Now, but we're going to deal with this part right here. We're going to deal with this part right here. Okay? And we're going to show you how this have been wielded and how they have used the arts on you to do what they have done. Now let's deal with Luke 15:21. And the son said unto him, Father. Now notice what we're saying. Father, Father, I have sinned against heaven. Now who have been over the heavens? Thought. And thought is what? A high priest of the Most High God. So when he said Father, Father is the one that teach us. The high priest is the one that give us the information from God. Okay? So thought is known as the tongue of God. So if you want to get information from God, you get it through thought. Okay? So he said Father, and he is a father of ancient Egypt. So he say fathers, he said Father. Okay? He is the God, the chief Netta. The chief Netta of ancient Egypt. And you know what a Netta is. Netta is higher than a god. The Greeks, when they was trying to give you the understanding of a god, they use of a Netta, they use the word God. So you need to know all this stuff as you begin to study this. So he said unto him, and he said, and the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven. Who created the heavens and the earth? Thought created the heavens and the earth. I have sinned against heaven. That means I have done something out of order. Sin. What do sin mean? What do sin mean? Sin is out of bounds. I want to show you something right quick. I'm going to get this. I want you to see something. You need to know this. Okay? That's why they say miss the mark. You hear them say sin, you missed the mark. What it means is that this is the mark. When you're looking at a bubble, you're looking at this level. Okay, when you get outside that level like that and you ain't in the middle of it, you are out of balance. What do that out of balance mean? That means when you use polarity, you have gotten out of balance. That means you don't went too much one way. You ain't balanced. You are chaotic in your ways. You have became chaotic against heaven. And what was heaven about? The 7 divine laws. The 7 divine laws was to be able to subdue, okay? Subdue, that's political. Is to be able to multiply, that's sociology. To be able to be fruitful, that's economics, okay? And to be able to understand God, that's moral. And you got all that in the social thing. You got multiply, you got being fruitful, you got subduing, and you got the eating, the diet and appetite. So you got to have a balance in all these areas. And the black man has sinned against heaven and in thy sight. That means he had lost the understanding of self. The understanding of man, know thyself. He was out of balance with God's. Out of balance with the Father's laws and the things that he come to the earth to be in balance with. So the black man had got to the point where he had sinned against heaven and in the sight and in thy sight. In the sight. In other words, he was out of balance. He had lost his true purpose, etc. And am no more worthy to be called thy son. Now notice this, thy son. What do thy son mean? That means you are a a son of God, thy son. He didn't say somebody else's son. He didn't say Jehovah's son. He didn't say Yahweh's son. He said thy son. That means the son of the living God. He got out of balance. He was out of his purpose. So he, in his mind, realized he was out of the will of being a son of God. That means thy son. That means if you, thy son, you the father's son, and thought it's a father, that means you the son of God. And thought came only here to do what he needed to do for Allah, God the Almighty, the Most High. So he was out of order in the will of the Most High, because thought came to bring man in the will of the Most High. So to be God's son, we was out of order at that time and at this time. And we got to come back where we're supposed to be. So it said in Luke 15:22, but the father said unto his servants, now you need to see this. This is why I played that part about Russia. I played that part so you can know that other peoples, other nations want to bring money and deliverance and certain things in to help the black man in this era of reparation, because it is not a civil thing now. It's a human right thing. See, America wants you to keep it, the older son, as they say, that other son wants you to keep it in confound within America. Okay, we're going to straighten it out right here. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. See, you ain't going to do it right because you did the tricky dick thing that got the black man in this condition. What you're doing through Bloomberg and through all these other politicians that's there, and the reason I say Bloomberg, although he's out of the race, he ain't out of the race. His money is backing Biden. So what you're doing through Bloomberg and Biden, and also Donald Trump as well now. But I'm talking about Bloomberg and Biden because they're the one trying to get a position. You're talking about a better job for man, for the black man, better income, better this, better that. But you ain't talking nothing about taking the money and the territory needed to build this man like he's supposed to be, because you know your wicked society is never going to let him be who he's supposed to be. You know that. You know these darn white folks out here that got every darn thing ain't finna share with this black man. You ought to hear, and when the Senate and Congress bring up the conversation on H.R. 40, the one out of Tennessee, and how they talking, oh, eloquent talk, but in their mind and the way they're speaking, oh, we ain't finna get no black folks, we ain't finna give them no reparation, but they have gave the Indian reparation, they have gave the Chinese reparation, they done gave the Jews reparation, everybody else reparation, but they don't want to get a black man no reparation at all. You promise him 40 acres of a mule. You promise him from the area from Charleston, North Carolina, South Carolina, to the St. John River, Florida, and the surrounding country, but you ain't never stood up to it. So we're not worried about what you're going to do, because you being the older son, the Eurocentric man, and in that story, you never, ever stepped and did the right thing. So God had to send what? The servant. So what is the servant? The servant is people like Russia and other nations now, because this is an international thing. This is not a civil thing. It's international. And you got guards and things set in place, like he was saying. Oh, we got to set something in place, laws and stuff like that at the end of this conversation. We got to set laws in place to keep this from happening. See, black man, you ain't got to go over to Africa and become no military force. You got enough military people right here that your military done trained. You need to be able to, only thing when this thing jump off, have men's in place to guard your neighborhoods, that these folks don't come in here and destroy your people, because you don't have communities, you have neighborhoods, just to guard your people, because they coming. The scriptures say it, and we're going to get into that in other lectures, that Russia and China is coming to fight on America's soil. And this is why the scriptures say what it says. But the Father said unto his servants. Who going to become the Father's servants? Them ones who God called for. Them nations who God called for. The Father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe. What is the best robe? That means he got to have political power. In order to have that political power, the best robe, that means he got to have a territory. Look at what it's saying now. And put it on him. Put it on him? So what do that mean? Do the black man got to fight for this? No. All you got to do is set his behind back and look at the word of God and watch this come to pass. See, they're going to give you that. Russia and the mother nation going to make sure you have the territory. Okay? So it's Eurocentric man ain't finna give you this. Okay? You sit back and breathe and think he's going to give you something. And a lot of y'all, after the 400 years of 2019 was over with, and you were hollering great substance, and after the day after August the 1st, August the 8th, and ain't nothing happened, you got disappointed. And I told you before that disappointment time that you got 30 years. You got that Joshua time. See, since Martin Luther King time, there was a Jubilee took place. You had, from Martin Luther King time, he died on a Jubilee. And you had a 50-year period of time that in between that, until 2017, 2018. That was the Donald Trump time. Donald Trump came at the Jubilee time. Okay? Donald Trump was sought for a particular purpose. Okay? And I'm not saying Donald Trump going to give you what you want, but Donald Trump had brought up the H.R. 40, just like Lincoln brought up the Emancipation Proclamation, okay? And you got to see this, because this is what's happening here. You got the Donald Trump effect, the Lincoln effect at Donald Trump time. This time here, this line here, this line here, these stars here, carry that same energy all the way to our time. Now, what do you see from the same attitude here? What do you see up here? You had you had at Lincoln time, you had the Republic, and you had the Dixiecrats arguing in the White House about what was going to do and what everything was going to happen. Up here, what you got? Pelosi fighting Trump, Dixiecrat fighting Republican. Okay, and all this other stuff. The Dixiecrat trying to impeach Donald Trump. And then you had the Senate acquitted him and stuff like that. So you see this battle, the same energy here. You got them, you got Russia down here saying that about the black man need a territory, and he told England, Russia told England, you better not get into this war, because if you get into this war, try to help the South, that we was going to get into it. So he wanted Lincoln to do the emancipation. He wanted Lincoln, Russia wanted Lincoln, them to give them that 40 acre, that land mass and stuff like that at that time. So, and they gave it to them, and then they took it back. And so now you got what? Russia up here. Look at it now. Russia up here. That's why that was played. Russia up here. Talking about the area that the blacks need, but only more land now. Not the 30 miles inland, but they need North Carolina, South Carolina. North Carolina, South Carolina. They skipped Florida, and they said Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Louisiana. See all that territory. Because they know that this is supposed to be fulfilled, but this art show you it was not going to be fulfilled until this time. Because the word of God had to be fulfilled. So this is what man wanted to do at this time, but God started off into the time we're in right now. Because you had to know about thought. You didn't know about thought before now, people. You didn't know that thought was your savior. They had you in this white Jesus. Come on now, let's tell the truth now. They put you in this white Jesus, because right here where they had the AME church coming to start building, and gave them a right to build an AME church, and the white man made sure when you was taught the way that he wanted you to learn. So you ain't learning about Jesus, God Almighty, the true God. You learn about his Eurocentric Jesus as God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And you've been all the time from him, all the way around him, been worshiping this white man Jesus, and that's why you have never been delivered. The only thing you're going to get good from that white Jesus, you're going to get a car, you're going to get a house, and you're going to get a job. Think about it now as a people. That's all you're going to get from him. Okay? And the only reason God permitted that to be is because of your heart. Not because you was praying the right way, but you was praying from the heart. The heartfelt prayer. And God bless you. Never lose sight on that. Now, God has sent you thought. God has sent you his messenger at this time with that code name. And now it's time for you to wake up and do the right thing. God has sent you Israel. God has sent you Zion. God has sent you Shiloh. And God has sent you the trumpet, trump and pit. Now, it's for you to wake up and begin to know that this territory that they promise you here is you're going to receive it up here after the 400 years, as the scriptures say. See, you got to follow the pattern, people. You got to follow the plan. And you got to understand the plan. And when you understand the plan, you will be delivered. So I'm saying to my black sisters and brothers, I think that they telling you that because that's a plot for them to push certain laws to tighten you down more, because you got the Hebrew Israelites, they're running out there a little while, and the white man don't really know how he's going to handle them. So if he come up with these laws, he could start calling them communists. Anybody that want to be delivered from his bondage, you become communists like they did during the time of Vietnam and Martin Luther King time. So you need to know this stuff. And especially if they think that you're doing the same thing Russia wants you to do, that's what they're going to make you, communists. And they're going to have a communist court like they had during the time where they did them actors and etc. Come on, people. Don't you see the game they trying to play on you? I always say, this organization say, when you can, move to North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And when all this stuff jump off, you're going to be in a safe area. See, Russia have no fight with the Africans, Americans. Because see, right now, you got to understand, Russia and China, they want to dominate the economic affairs of Africa. So they're going to be right, and they're going to be good to black folks. They're going to show the Africans, look, we're trying to help your peoples over there in America who been under that colonial system, and we want to make this thing better for those people. So look what we're doing. So they paving the road so the Africans accept them more. And the Chinese is right along with them saying, oh, we're going to give you African 50-50. So, look, we're going to be with the Russian to make sure these African-American, your people over there, is liberated. Although their intent is not about your liberation, because they could have did it long ago. Their intent about you being free, so militarily and economically, that helping you get that freedom could give them a leadway in Africa. That's what it's really all about. Just like Lincoln's strategy was to get the South back with the North, their strategy is to give them more leverage in Africa where all those resources are at, and showing how good they are to the black folks, okay? Like Lincoln then was trying to show how good they was to the black folks. And this is why it say in the scripture, and the Father said to his servants, because they willing to serve what's right. They're willing to do what's right in the sight of God, in the sight of humanity, and they know that this is way overdue. But the brother have no interest, the Eurocentric man have no interest in giving you that territory. And you must look at it like that. Quit trying to run behind the silver environmental reparation. Quit trying to think that this man gonna give you what you really owe, what he really owe you. He ain't trying to do that. People, you need territory. You need your own nation. You ain't gonna be free until you have your own nation on American soil. That's the only way, and have the finance necessary, the gold and whatever else they need to give you necessary, and the freedom, and set their butt back away from you so you can have the freedom and the free will to trade and do the things you need to do to grow yourself and grow your communities and grow your nation, state, and the way it needs to be. And that's what's important. Now, I'd like you to take this here, and I want you to pay attention to it and understand. There's another part I want you to see down here. I know I ain't got but a few minutes, but I don't worry. We're going to do what we need to do. Now, in Luke 15:23-27, and bring hither the fattest calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this is what I want you to see in the ending part of this. For this, my son, now this is God talking. This, my son, was dead. See, black man and black woman, you were dead. For this, my son, was dead and is alive again. See, you was alive in Africa. You was alive in Egypt. You built these civilizations, the Mayas and the Songhai Empire, the Mali and the Songhai Empire in Africa. You built Egypt and stuff like this. But when he came here, he brainwashed you and he killed you. You was dead. But now he wants you to come alive again and is alive again. That means return to the gods. He was lost and is found. See, you have to know these arts. You have to know that thought is your savior. You have to know that Allah is your God, is the Most High. You got to know that, which he got that name Allah from the angelic name for God. And you need to know the Most High. And they begin to be merry. That means you're going to bring happiness. You're going to restore joy back in your life. And that's very important. This is a lecture that you need to pay attention to, my people. This is a lecture that you need to look at your God and know that your God wants to deliver you from this condition. And right now, at our time, we are marching in this time of your deliverance. This is like no other time. God is going to deliver you, and he's going to use these nations. He's going to use his servants in order to make this happen. So you got to see this. You ain't got to go and train and fight nowhere. Keep your hands clean, okay? Let God do it. And he's going to show you his work. It's like during the time when the people were marching over in Jericho, marching around that wall, and the wall fell. You stay in prayer. God giving you power. This book here, Edgar Cayce tell you about that power that God is going to give you. You ain't got to touch nothing. All you got to unite yourself, and God's going to do the rest. And that's what you need to focus on. Unite yourself, and God will do the rest. I'm going to say this quick prayer for my camera woman tell about her equipment. Because she over there messing with stuff. Okay. But Heavenly Father, thank you, Father, for being here with us. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for being our God and our Savior. We thank you for thought. We thank you, Allah, for being who you are, the unseen God. We thank you for sending a God-man in the midst of us to lead us and guide us, who is Melchizedek. And we thank you for this time of human history. Thank you, Father, for what you're about to do for the black family, the deliverance you're going to give them. You truly said after the 400 years you will deliver us. And right now, we will come up with great substance, and right now it's happening. Father, get us to see you. Help our people see you in your action and your working through the word of God. Help us see this plan that you have placed in the Bible so we could be able to know your every move for our life. And we say this in the name of the Most High.